Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to demystify the incredibly complex, multi-layered architecture of the Internet of Things, or IoT. We hear this buzzword thrown around literally all the time, but today, we're actually going to break down exactly how physical data gets captured in the real world and then transformed into actionable, life-changing intelligence. All right, let's just dive right in. So here's our visual roadmap for today. We'll start with a welcome to the IoT, then look at sensors as the front end. After that, we'll hit protocols and connectivity, followed by cloud, edge, and fog computing. Finally, we'll wrap up with real-world applications and, of course, security and future challenges. Let's get going. All right, part 1. Welcome to the IoT, defining the connected world. There is this massive split between consumer IoT and industrial IoT, or IIoT. And sure, the underlying technology might look pretty similar, sensors, connectivity, cloud platforms, but the actual business priorities, totally different. Think about it. A homeowner really just wants a cheap, easy-to-install smart thermostat for convenience, right? But industrial IoT, that requires absolutely bulletproof reliability. If your smartwatch loses connection, well, you just miss a few minutes of tracking your steps. No big deal. But if an industrial sensor goes offline, that could delay massive production lines, disrupt critical SCADA systems, or even cause a factory gas leak that compromises worker safety. The stakes in IIoT are just exponentially higher. Moving on to part 2, sensors, the front end, which are basically the senses of the whole system. So if you look at this bottom-up architecture, check out the very foundation. Right at the bottom, we have our sensors and actuators. These are literally the things in the Internet of Things. Sensors are out there capturing raw environmental data, stuff like temperature, moisture, or gas levels. And then actuators actually interact with the physical world based on commands. Just above that layer, we've got the processors. These act like the initial brain, They take that massive flood of raw data, extract the valuable insights, and then send it right up the chain through the gateways. And just to give you a real sense of the sheer scale we're dealing with here, over 9 billion physical objects are currently connected to the internet right now. And get this, that number is rapidly charging toward a whopping 20 billion in the near future. It's wild. Every single one of those devices needs to be uniquely identifiable, often needing its own IP address, all while acting as the frontline sensors for these massive global networks. Okay, part 3. Protocols and connectivity. Think of this as the nervous system.
Now, I know navigating this space can sometimes feel like staring at a giant bowl of alphabet soup, but we actually have specific protocols tailored for very unique jobs. For instance, 6LoWPAN is an absolute marvel. It somehow manages to squeeze these bulky IPv6 internet packets into the tiny, low-power frames that small sensors require. Then you have Bluetooth Low Energy, or BLE, which is perfect for short-range things, like your fitness tracker. Zigbee's Smart Energy is specifically designed for monitoring and automating energy in green homes, while LoRa and Dash 7, those are optimized for different types of varied, long-range tracking.
Now, a really crucial point is how we handle messaging at the application layer. And a total standout here is MQTT. This was actually invented way back in 1999 by IBM, and it is a highly efficient, super lightweight system based on a publish-subscribe architecture. So instead of devices constantly bugging a server and asking, hey, is there new data? Is there new data? Which obviously wastes a ton of battery and bandwidth, a remote sensor just publishes its data to a central broker. Then, any application that actually cares about that data just subscribes to it and gets notified instantly. It really is an incredibly elegant solution for remote monitoring. You can really see how this abstract communication plays out when we look at the 2 main communication models for the Dash 7 standard. On one side, we have a pull model, or query protocol. This is where a central node essentially asks the sensors, hey, what's your current status? And then they reply. But on the flip side, we have a push model, or beaconing. Here, the sensors autonomously wake up, broadcast their data without even being asked, and then go right back to sleep. As you can imagine, this push model is absolutely fantastic for saving energy in battery-operated devices. Which brings us to part 4, cloud, edge, and fog computing. This is the brain of the operation. So you've probably heard a lot about the cloud and the edge, right? But fog computing is another absolutely crucial concept to grasp in modern IoT. It literally sits right in the middle. It acts as an intermediary gateway between the edge devices out in the field and the distant cloud servers. By processing data closer to where it's actually generated, fog computing ensures ultra-fast responses. And that is absolutely vital when milliseconds matter, like in industrial automation or healthcare settings.
Comparing these three directly really helps solidify the whole concept. Edge computing happens right at the sensor, the absolute front line, executing real-time processing to make split-second decisions. Fog computing steps in next. It acts as a local gateway to optimize the flow of data and filter out the noise. And then finally, the cloud takes care of all the heavy lifting. We're talking storing massive amounts of historical data, running deep analytics, and training complex models over time. They all work perfectly in tandem like a well-oiled machine.
All right, part 5, real-world applications, putting all this IoT to work. Let's take modern healthcare monitoring as a prime example of this in action. The data lifecycle flows so perfectly through 4 logical steps here. First, an on-body sensor captures vital signs, like an ECG or body temperature. Second, it wirelessly transmits that data using a low-power protocol like BLE. Third, it hits an edge gateway. Now, this could be a Node MCU microcontroller sitting in a hospital room, or honestly, even just your smartphone. And finally, that gateway pushes the data up to a cloud platform, like ThingSpeak or Ubidots. There, doctors can monitor the data remotely and analyze trends over time. This is literally IoT saving lives by enabling 24/7 patient monitoring. And you know what's incredibly exciting right now? How all of these applications are being completely supercharged by the rollout of 5G technology. I mean, 5G doesn't just mean faster downloads for your phone. It fundamentally changes the game for IoT. It offers significantly higher data transfer speeds, which allows for heavy real-time processing. And surprisingly, it actually improves energy efficiency for small data packets, which drastically reduces battery waste for those remote sensors. Add in the fact that it slashes latency down to mere milliseconds and brings robust network reliability to complex, metal-heavy industrial factory floors. It's a real game changer. And finally, part 6, security and future challenges, guarding the system.
Now, we have to talk about the primary challenge of expanding IoT and integrating networks like 5G, and that is the sheer unprecedented size of the attack surface. It is massive. Every single new sensor, every new gateway, every new smart device is a potential entry point for malicious actors. Managing data privacy, ensuring secure device authentication, and actively patching vulnerabilities across billions of diverse devices scattered all around the globe. Yeah, that is an incredibly complex task for cybersecurity professionals today.
So that brings us to the end of our explainer, but I want to leave you with this critical question to really ponder. As we eagerly build billions of new digital senses and nerves into our physical world and reap all the amazing rewards of smart factories and remote healthcare, how are we going to secure them against tomorrow's threats? How do we balance that life-saving, incredible innovation with the harsh reality of expanding security vulnerabilities in our most private spaces? It really is the defining question for the future of the Internet of Things. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive, and as always, keep exploring.